So, hello everyone. Hello, all the viewers and listeners. Today we have an amazing guest, Josh Bachynski. He has an incredible TEDx talk called "The Future of Google Search and Ethics," which is very interesting. I recommend watching it. I will drop a link below. Author of the book "The Zombies," early adopter and investor in GPT-3, creator of documentary "Don't Be Evil: Google's Secret War." By the way, it's really hard to find this documentary on Google. I wonder why. Co-host of my favorite SEO show, SEO plus AI show, with his co-host Greg. Shout out to Greg. Greg is incredible. And creator of a keyword spy SEO optimization tool that actually helps to optimize your SEO using AI, which is what can be more relevant than that. Hi, Josh. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Anton. How are you?
Oh, really good. I'm feeling great about you being on this show. I'm sure you will give a lot of incredible recommendations to our viewers and our listeners today. So let's start with the beginning. I know that you have a philosopher background, and I've always wondered, like, can you share your journey from being a philosopher to becoming an AI researcher and SEO expert? Like, do you think your background in philosophy and ethics influenced your interest to these fields?
Hmm. So that's a great question, Anton. Thanks for asking. Yeah, definitely, for sure has. I've been doing SEO for over 25 years, longer than Google's been around. And really, that's now just reverse engineering AIs. I call myself an AI consultant because really doing SEO at this point is reverse engineering AIs and understanding how Google implements various kinds of AIs, from NLPs to LLMs to computer recognition, image recognition softwares, and knowledge classification or hierarchy AIs as well. So they run the gamut of a bunch of different kinds of AIs. And philosophy has helped me understand this tremendously. I did my MA in philosophy at Dalhousie in a little town called Halifax, which is in East Coast Canada. Beautiful, beautiful little town.
Yeah, I live here, so yeah, I live in
Oh,
Halifax.
there you go. Well, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And
Yeah,
it's a
for sure.
gorgeous little town, especially in the fall when all the maple trees get red and orange. I've never seen a more beautiful fall anywhere in the world than in
For
Halifax,
sure,
personally.
I can confirm that.
Yeah, then sadly we had to leave Halifax, however, and I went to Toronto, which I'm not too fond of, and I was doing my PhD there in philosophy, which I quit because I was like, I could make much more money doing SEO and marketing, and it was I've taught across Canada. I love teaching at university level, but it wasn't quite the job I thought it was going to be. So I came back to marketing. It was more politics and administratia than it was teaching, really. It seemed at the end of the day, and philosophy teachers don't get paid very much. I can literally make 10 times the amount of money doing this. So I came back. But philosophy has really helped me understand how artificial intelligence works. So there's this kind of burgeoning field in psychology, at the intersection of psychology and computer science, which doesn't really have a name yet, and it's using psychological techniques to understand AI, understand specifically large language models, and understand the kind of psychology or thinking, the crystallized common opinion psychology you'll get out of the corpus that's coming through a large language model. Because the way all large language models are trained, like BARD, BERT, Lambda, PaLM 2, GPT, ChatGPT, Llama 2, all those large language models, Alpaca, the kind of more popular ones, Orca, Falcon, all these large language models, you put text in, you get text out. But what does it say about the psychology of the person who's talking there? Like, we know they're not self-aware, they don't have layers yet. One of my other projects was rebuilding a self-aware AI called Cassandra. I don't know if Anton's going to ask about that later, but so I don't want to steal the thunder from that question. But I used my philosophy and psychology background not only to understand these large language models and how they think, and to kind of become an AI whisperer. And that's really important for understanding the kind of information you're going to get out of these things and how reliable they are or how reliable they aren't in many cases. And also it allowed me to recreate a psyche and to build a self-aware AI, an AGI model called Cassandra. So the connection is very strong. And I came by AI honestly because coming from the tech background, SEO is nothing but an AI these days. If you're in SEO and you're not paying attention to AI, you need to start paying attention to AI. Like, you're really going to get surpassed by people who are. So all I do is reverse engineer AIs all day, build AIs, and that's essentially my job. And that really, as far as I'm concerned, is philosophy, because I'm dealing with truths, I'm dealing with psychology, I'm dealing with English text in and English text out. For me, English, because that's all I speak. English text in and English text out, and that at the end of the day is philosophy and psychology when you really think about it.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned Cassandra because I'll be honest, you have such a rich presence that our team we had like 20 questions and we had to cut this one, but now we will
Hmm.
mention it. Cassandra is it's a prototype, it's a self-aware AI right now.
Yes.
You're working on right now, and it's a
Yeah.
very interesting project. I definitely follow it, but I don't have any relevant questions about it. But let's go further about and speak about some some more technician stuff, I would say.
Let's
So
do it.
you have a really famous TEDx talk in the community. I really love it. I think it's about Google like 7 years ago, but I think it's still relevant in terms of Google and AI today because I
Mhm.
feel like we have the same concerns right now. And in your TEDx talk, you address the issue of censorship, expressing considerable concerns about it, and considering growing dominance of AI, which is often operated by unregulated private companies. Do you believe we are seeing the same thing, like a revival of these censorship issues, or rather a lack of censorship? And in light of this, do you advocate for stricter regulations of AI, or you think things are good the way they are right now?
That's a great question, Anton. So my TEDx talk was called "The Future of Google Search and Ethics," and in my TEDx talk, I talked about this kind of hidden censorship that Google does. Google is not a search engine; they're a censorship engine. Ahrefs put out the stat years ago that 90% of web pages on the web do not get Google traffic. That means they censor at least 90% of the web. So that's not a search engine, right? When you can't find all the files, that's not a search engine anymore. That is a censorship engine. Uh, and uh, uh, and the problem there is that they're a private for-profit company that's doing these choices, right? We have no control of them. They get to decide what a good business is. They get to decide what good information is. They get to decide what's true, and they're a private consumerist capitalist American company policing this information for the rest of the world. And we take it on good faith. We take it on their word alone that they're going to tell us the true truth. They're going to allow us to see even embarrassing things about them, for example, and that they will pivot and they will control it exactly the way we want it. Well, that's not the way it works, right? That's not how a liberal democratic system works. A liberal democratic system has checks and balances in place for a reason. There's an official vote that you know what you're voting on for a reason, and traffic is not voting, right? Just watching where hoi polloi clicks and seeing what they do on your engine is not the same as a vote. People are not thinking that I'm voting for my interests here. You need to put that behind, to use a common philosopher, John Rawls, you need to put the vote behind a veil of ignorance. And you're ignorant as to who you are in the system, and you're voting for everyone's best interest, including your own best interest. But you have your best interest in mind. When we're surfing the web, we don't have our best interest in mind. We're just trying to find information quick. We're not thinking of the future. So the vote and traffic are not the same thing. Google's argument there that they're democratic and they go based on the user votes is hogwash, is a completely spurious argument. And what I said in that TEDx talk is not that they need to be regulated, because I know government will never regulate them because the gray hairs in government, A, don't understand it, and B, Google is one of the largest lobbyists in Washington. So there's too much money being given to politicians, they would never regulate it. And I'm going to get to AI in a second. That dovetails into AI in a second.
Sure.
What we need to do is that NATO or the United Nations or the US needs to buy Google Search from Alphabet and turn around and hire all those employees to run it, because no one's better than doing it than Google. And then we have a referendum where there's a charter of rights in Canada, or a bill of rights for those folks in the States that details the rights of the searcher and the searchee. Right? The people searching, what rights do they have? And the people listed in the search engine, what rights do they have? And then we all decide commonly what those rights are going to be. And we have a referendum every 4 years to change those rights if we want to. And then an AI runs the system ethically, legally, right? And that's how, and a not-for-profit organization is running it that has no vested interest other than telling us the exact factual truth as far as they can determine it through the best methods of science, journalistic integrity, those kinds of things. That would be the only way to run the search feature for the internet. The internet is supposed to be open and free, so the search engine must be open and free, and only an NPO could do that. Now let's pivot, and even in detractors say, and let me just say, I forget what the detractors say. Let me just say this: even if that ends up being working exactly the same as Google is working now, censoring exactly the same kind of information. It's censoring the credit card information, censoring, child pornography, thank goodness it should, censoring, spam pages that are just crap that we don't want, censoring that kind of stuff. Even if it was 100% the same, operated before private to public, it's still unethical to ethical. It still makes a huge difference because now we control it, which is the way a liberal democratic system is supposed to work. The only people in a liberal democracy who are supposed to be able to imprison other people or hurt other people is the government that we elect. That's it. That's what we all agree. We all collectively agree we're going to elect a government that can now enslave us and manage us and hurt us if we break a law and if we're suspected of breaking a law based on the fair laws that we all select. That's why it works. That's why it works that way. And that's exactly the way that Google's search engine needs to work. Now, let's pivot to AI. How would my new TEDx talk work for AI and how that works? Well, it's exactly the same argument, right? And it gets even worse because now Google search is going to take they're going to keep stealing all of our personal information to profit off of, but now they're not even going to send us the web traffic anymore, possibly in some cases. In some cases, generative search is going to answer the question at the top of the search engine, and we're not even going to see the search traffic anymore. So it's even worse. And I hate to be the guy who told you so. Actually, everyone listening to me knows I love to be the guy who told you so. And so I was the guy who told you so. This is how this goes, right? If you don't stop this tendency of Google in particular and big tech and consumer capitalism in general to steal all of our personal information and then to monetize it without giving us any cut or even any accreditation, that's the way things are going. Now, there are lawsuits currently of copyright lawsuits against ChatGPT and the LLMs. There is lawsuits against Midjourney and Stable Diffusion engines about the images using their copyright. And they haven't even released text to music producers yet, or not a lot of them, because they know Sony will be all over that. Sony will protect their
game industry, like Steam right now bans games that used AI because they are afraid it was learning on the illegal sources.
Exactly. Right? And so that has to be resolved, and we'll see the way the court cases go with that. That might be a bright patch where these big tech companies are now going to have to give some money back. And if that landmark case happens, then that will also retroactively go for search engines too. They can't spider your content and keep it in their database anymore and profit off it without paying you a cut. That would be beautiful. That would be wonderful. That would be an amazing thing for the industry. Being a web, you just create websites and Google's giving you whatever, 5 cents a day or 2 cents a day per page, half a million pages, do the math, you're making that per month or whatever it is. Like, so, and we're informing their AI and their AI is good answering questions and we're making money. It'd be a good link, a good system, right? I hope that happens. However, I strongly doubt that it will. So that's the kind of regulation that I hope will happen. I strongly doubt that it will because it's too good. It's too nice. I could not ever see Sony will win protecting music because they have being able to do that. They killed Napster. They killed streaming. They killed all the BitTorrent streaming. There's still BitTorrent streaming, but they pushed it into the periphery, so far in the periphery that they don't really think or care about it anymore. And you need to try really hard to get BitTorrents and things like that. So you can just get Spotify or whatever. You can stream it. They revitalized their model and they got that. So you probably won't be able to make AI music. But without paying a cut or doing something along those lines. But at the end of the day, for text and for images, I'm not sure it's going to go that way. I sincerely hope it does, though. In terms of just regulating AI from the government, that's a smokescreen. They're never going to do that. That 6-month hiatus, that 6-month pause that people signed a letter for, that was just Elon Musk and everybody trying to catch up to ChatGPT and Google trying to catch up to ChatGPT, who was literally eating Google's lunch. The transformer, the T in ChatGPT, generative pre-trained transformer, was created by Geoffrey Hinton at Google. BERT was one of the first ones, the bidirectional encoding for representations from transformer. The transformer is Google's technology, and OpenAI took it, ate Google's lunch, and now they're way ahead of where Google is. Now, I wouldn't count Google out on Bard and Magi and generative search and all the things they're going to do there, but that was just them trying to hold them back. Because remember this, AI is the new cars. Information is the new commodity that's more important than oil. AI is the new cars. This is the new money-making market. This is the economic driver for the future, for the foreseeable future. Forget green energy. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. It is and will. I'm saying that compared to AI, it's nothing. It's nothing. compared to the trillions of dollars that are in AI. So there's too much money at stake. I don't think government will be able to handle it or stop it. And even if they did, bad actors like China and Russia would catch up. So you can't just pause it. The only way to control it is this landmark case of copyright, which I sincerely hope goes through, because then that would add a lot more ethics in the world and a lot more fairness in the world.
Yeah, this is why it feels like you don't need to make another TEDx talk. I think this is why your TEDx talk is so relevant right now because of AI. I mean, it became relevant again. Like maybe there was a time when it wasn't, but right now I just watched it a couple of days ago. I mean, you can replace Google with AI. It's going to be the same idea. But
Yeah.
I want to make a follow-up question. I want to ask you to be certain about your opinion on this. And I will mention your documentary highlighted several stories of individuals whose lives were adversely affected by Google search, and well, basically their lives and businesses were destroyed. Do you perceive it like AI that AI has the same potential? Do you, or maybe you hold more optimistic view of perhaps trust in the development of ethical AI? Like, do you think like AI can do the same thing to small businesses, moms and pop stores, and people's lives right now?
Oh, totally, completely. So this documentary that Anton's mentioning was called "Don't Be Evil: Google's Secret War," and I spent about $500,000 of my own dollars to produce this documentary. Sadly, I could not sell it to a major studio. We're going to try to sell it to Netflix, try to sell it to other studios. Could not sell it, and so it's kind of just sitting on the shelf. I've released a private version, and I let friends and industry people see it. Anton, if you want to see it, you can see it. If anybody contacts. If anyone contacts Anton, it's a great movie. If anyone contacts Anton, Anton can forward it along. I'll give you the password. You can let people see it. I don't care.
I've seen the trailers. I've seen the small parts of it that were available online, which looked very interesting to me. But yeah,
it's a great movie. It was done by Mark Nistico, my director of photography, and my editor, who's an award-winning Sundance and Toronto Film Festival award-winning film producer and director. It's a great film. But I couldn't release it to the world because I heard through the grapevine, and just gives you a sense of how much Google wants to protect this. I heard through the grapevine, Josh, if you release this, Google's going to put you in court and keep you in court forever. And Google has the money to do that. I don't have the money. Whether I haven't done anything wrong, and I haven't done anything illegal, but that doesn't matter. Google has enough money; they could put someone in court and keep them there forever, and just make me spend my money defending myself until I'm bankrupt, right? So I was like, oh, that doesn't sound so good, so I didn't release it. So I have it in private. If anyone wants to see it in private, they're welcome to see it. But in that documentary, as Anton mentioned, I talked about the people who were hurt by Google's secret war against businesses. And this really is around Panda. When Panda came out, how they were defining businesses as high quality and low quality. They didn't make the determination of a website. They were really just saying a business is high quality, low quality. Really being, just like any authoritarian presence, really being quite egotistical, really being quite arrogant, as all power goes to head. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, as Nietzsche said. And they were saying, oh, these businesses are low quality. We don't want to rank them in search. These are not the kind of businesses we want there. That's literally the verbiage they used to use, and they got sued for it. They don't say that anymore. But that's every SEO knows that's what they mean behind the scenes, right? And again, that's part of my TEDx talk. They are not the Better Business Bureau. They have no business determining what a good business is and a bad business is. That's highly unethical and highly unfair. And so to drum up support for those supposedly bad businesses, and I'm using giant scare quotes here for anyone who's just listening, I interviewed a whole bunch of them. Sadly, people who lost their businesses, they don't exist anymore. Just because Google decided one day that they didn't like their website tech or something about them they didn't like, and that was it. And that's capricious. That's callous, capricious. That's unethical. That's the height. That's about as unethical as a company gets without murdering people, quite frankly. Or dumping toxic waste in like a school ground or something. That's more unethical for sure. But this is still highly unethical, destroying people's livelihood, destroying their businesses, destroying people's retirements, things along that nature. It has nothing to do with saying that people deserve a spot in Google. I didn't say that at all. I said that Google, not the people, are not allowed to make this decision. That's the argument, right?
Do you think AI can make this situation worse?
For sure. So like I said, there's the generative search problem where if this landmark case doesn't go through and we're not getting a cut for our information, then Google can still use our information for free, but now never send us any web traffic. So there's a lot of business models in SEO which are like buying businesses, buying businesses or buying websites, build up an informational site, sell it for profit. That goes out the window, or that's reduced statistically because now you're not getting the web traffic anymore, so it's not as valuable anymore. Or the AdSense site, right? The ad site. Build up a website that has great information, monetize the ads. That's not going to work anymore either. Anything at the top of the funnel might not work anymore with generative search, or will greatly be reduced. Instead of making $3,000 a month, you'll be making 300 a month because that traffic stranglehold goes down. So those kind of business models and the ways for people to make money online, Google decides I'm going to take that, right? And that's what they do. I'm going to take hotels. I'm going to take maps. I'm going to take flights. I'm going to take the top of the funnel information. They're just taking money away from us, right? Hurting BIPOC people, because those mom and pop businesses proportionally are not going to be white folks. They're proportionally going to be Black, Indigenous, or people of color, because that's the way the economic sadly skews. It shouldn't skew that way. That's the way it just happens to factually skew. So Google likes to think they're this non-racist company and this non-prejudiced company when they're hurting BIPOC people the most when they disenfranchise small businesses and mom and pop businesses and startup businesses, making it even more impossible for those people to get out of their economic situations. Again, a lot of unethics going on here. So generative search is only going to exacerbate that. In terms of AI overall, I have a little bit of a more positive view. AI as a movement overall is going to be as big as the wheel, right? It's going to radically change human society. In 100 years, our society will be like Star Trek. It'll be completely and utterly unrecognizable to how we have it now. So on that, in terms of that sigmoid curve, sigmoid curve is like an S-graph curve to determine where you are in the level of adoption of technology. People think we're in the middle of the S. We're not even close. We're on the bottom bar of the S. We haven't even started to ramp up yet when you think of AI overall as to what it's going to do and what it can do. And so in that broad context, it's a little bit more positive. AI, as much as it destables and takes jobs away, it's going to enable and give more jobs. So I think it'll be about equal there, but there will be growing pains. There will be collateral damage. There will be people who just are, like people who worked at the VHS factory just didn't want to upgrade the DVDs. Well, then, yeah, they lost their job, So I recommend people now get into AI now, learn AI now, practice AI now, because AI is not really going to take anybody's jobs. Really what's going to happen for the most part is a smart person using a smart AI is going to take your job. So you be that smart person. You be the smart person, and this applies to SEO too, guys. You be that smart person who finds the smartest AI tool to help you do the best work, and be that person first and foremost. While I'm at it, just mentioning, I have an SEO keyword tool for on-page. It is just it's perfectly doing what I'm talking about here. It is a next generation advanced AI SEO co-pilot tool that has an SEO consultant built into it, which is helping you do your on-page work. It fully does on-page based on the real AIs that Google uses: RankBrain, Neuromatching, BERT, Helpful Content, Review, and Knowledge Graph. It does those 6 AIs. It builds models for you in those 6 AIs. Try it free for 2 weeks. No credit card needed at trykeywordspy.com. And shameless plug. So yeah, but that's the general idea. Whatever industry you're in, and especially if you're listening to marketing and SEO, you need to be the people using the next generation smart AI tools. You cannot just go to ChatGPT and say, write me an article. It's crap. You cannot go to ChatGPT and just say, whatever, analyze my backlinks. It doesn't know how to do that, right? It's not a specialist. It knows general information from the general public. It doesn't know how to do those kinds of things. So all these, and here's another huge problem that I have to mention, Anton, I'm sorry. And here's how AI is going to continue to hurt people. Charlatans, grift, snake oil. I've made a career out of calling out snake oil, right? And if you watch my channel for any length of time, that's the case. That's true. I've been doing this for 15 years. And the YouTube channel, that is. I've been doing SEO for 10 years plus that. And here's where charlatans are now ripping people off. They just take ChatGPT and put a prompt in it, like LRPRM or whatever it's called, Chris Kemper's group. I'm sorry, Anton, if you're associated with them or something. I don't mean to call anybody out that you might be associated with, but because I have no idea what Anton does or who he has on his show. But sorry, I'm here to say crap.
I don't think
crap.
so. But keep going.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm glad. Sometimes I do this, and then the host gets nervous because he has other people on the show. But so I apologize. I pre-apologize if that is the case, Anton. I don't mean to cause trouble. I mean to cause a little bit of trouble because I'm that guy.
That's what makes it interesting. So
Okay, well, good. Well, then I've had more interesting information for you. Here's some interesting information. You can't just go into ChatGPT and ask it to do SEO for you. It's not going to work. And anybody who's just written a simple prompt on top of that, any of these free SEO tools, look at them. They have huge ads on the side. It's clearly a cash grab just to get your money. Some of them are worse than malware sites, where the start button to start the SEO thing you want to do is actually getting your personal information and installing malware on your site. Do not use the free SEO tools. They are all crap. Just ask yourself, how is this person making money? Why did they spend hundreds of hours building this for free? That doesn't happen, guys. It doesn't happen. It's not 2005 anymore. The internet is not free. Nothing is free except for information on good podcasts like this. And that's it, right? That is the end of it, right? Everyone needs to monetize somehow. It took us tens of thousands, upward of $100,000 to build Keyword Spy. And it is a very good on-page SEO AI tool. That's what it takes. I know for a fact what it takes. So I know these free SEO tools are utter and complete crap. You cannot use them. You will destroy your SEO, and you'll email me later and I'll have to charge you to fix it, right? I get these emails weekly, on a weekly basis. Oh, Josh, I did some SEO move and now my business is gone. I don't know what to do. Or, oh, Josh, I haven't updated my site since 1992 and my website, my SEO is gone. Or, oh, Josh, I bought backlinks and they said it was fine, but now it's gone. I get these emails weekly. And I think a lot of other SEOs do too. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's much easier to stop it. Sorry, Anton?
Yeah, sure. I'm just agreeing with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know you do. I do. I mean, pretty much any SEO has been doing this for any length of time does, right? So I hate seeing those emails, right? I hate seeing those emails. It's much easier to stop it from happening than to fix it afterwards. You can still fix it, but it takes longer, more months. You got to get Google's trust back. The trust algorithms got to get back. Yes, they have trust algorithms. Those AIs need to trust you again. Because I run an underground SEO university where we test, reverse engineer Google's AIs. I know exactly how the trust algorithms work, and so I can do that very efficiently and very expediently and very quickly. And all my students do as well. Go to bit.ly/SEO proof. Again, that's bit.ly/SEO proof to see the proof of all of our wins. Every single month for the last 6 years, we have wins. We boast wins every single month for the last 6 years. Find me another SEO group that has that information. It's even collected it, never mind they can boast it. My group can, right? Because we test, reverse engineer Google's AIs, and we scientifically test them and find out what truly is a ranking factor and what truly is not. It's very simple. We were just tired of going off of Google's public relations bullcrap and trusting them at their face value. You should never do that. And you should always weigh everything they say with a healthy bit of skepticism and scientific testing. So if you're interested in another shameless plug, if you're interested in underground university, I'll give anyone who mentions Anton's name, just put Anton in the subject line. Anyone who mentions Anton's name, I'll give you a discount, a pretty hefty discount on the monthly subscription fee. And again, you can find all the information there. And Keyword Spy is the tool that came out of Underground SEO University. So again, end shameless plug. Hashtag.
I'm thinking of using it. It's all right. It's okay. I'm thinking of using that promo code. So I'm using I will use my own promo code.
Use your own promo code. Do it. So again, the point here, guys, is whatever SEO you go with, you know, whether it's me or not, doesn't matter. Whatever SEO tool you go with, do not go with the free ones. I'm sorry. I know we all want it to be free, and I know we all want it to be easy. I know. Trust me, I know. But guys, it just doesn't work that way. If some skeezy guy in a bar walks up and gives you a free drink, do you drink it? No, you don't drink it. You say, no thanks for that, right? These are skeezy people giving you free SEO tools. If some guy says on the street, hey, I got a free cheeseburger, you want it? The answer should be no, right?
Well, yeah, but it depends on how hungry I am, right?
Well, exactly, Anton. That's the point. Think of it this way. Your business is your kids, your children. Do you let your children eat the Halloween candy before checking it? No. So do not use free SEO tools. I'm sorry. I don't know how the SEO industry got tied into such grift. I don't know how it got tied into the make money online industry. And I don't know how it got tied into make money fast, because you can't make money fast. SEO is not easy. I mean, you can make money fast if you use Keyword Spy, go onto Fiverr, say you do keyword reports for $75, and the keyword report and Keyword Spy takes an hour, do 8 of those a day, make 8 times 75. You can do that. That's fast money. You can do that really quick. But getting your rankings in Google, that takes a long time, right? So So it can take a long time, especially if you have really strong competitors, because everyone's been building their sites since 2001. So you got some catching up to do, kind of a deal. So that's how AI is going to hurt people: grift, lying, AI that doesn't work, and when it does work, taking people's jobs and surpassing everybody else. So make sure you're the smart people using the smart AI tool. You can do it. It's not that hard. You can do it. You should do it.
All right. So we mentioned two things right now that I wanted to ask you about. This is why I will combine them into one question. So first is we touched the ground of generative search, and we have a discussion right now about it. How do you think it's a totally new thing, like it's a paradigm shift, or do you think it's the natural evolution of the search we had before? And following question is, in your career, you describe in your SEO activity essentially as a reverse engineering of AI. And with introduction of AI to your work, to your content, to your SEO tool, and to your show with Greg that I watch, by the way, weekly, and do you see this as a new element to the field, or more of a natural progression and evolution of the things we had before? Like, is it a change? Is it something new, or is it an evolution? That's basically the core of my question.
Yeah, it's kind of both, really. So the putting the generative search at the top is kind of like replacing the featured snippet. So the featured snippet is that bunch of text that answers the question at the top. Now, I don't think generative search is actually going to replace the featured snippet, because I don't know if you've used ChatGPT. It's super useful when you don't know what you want, but when you know what you want a quick answer. Generative search is super annoying. It takes a time. You have to answer. You have to talk to it. You have to chat with it. It's actually super annoying. The featured snippet, boom, is there. It's much easier. It's a better product in many cases. So I don't think generative search will replace this featured snippet, but where generative search is employed, it will change the search scape at the top of the funnel, as I mentioned previously. Otherwise, it's a natural evolution. Google has been an AI first company for over a decade, since 2010, 2009, ever since Matt Cutts worked there. And I talked with Matt Cutts and I asked, hey, what are you guys doing? He told me we're doing AI. It's all about AI, using AIs to machine learn everything. Machine learning is AI. That's what it is. They've been doing machine learning since before 2010. So it's just a natural evolution of where they were with Panda Penguin at those days. And then that machine learning is done. Now they've moved over to more AI models that are based on Jeffrey Hinton's large language models, NLP programs, knowledge graphing programs, things like that, information hierarchy AIs, extracting entities in various different ways. And each one of their AIs extracts entities in different ways. For example, everybody out there thinks that Google's NLP demo is the only AI they run. Wrong. That's not the only AI they run. They don't even run it in search. Actually, to tell you the truth, that demo I've tested is nowhere in search. They run something similar to it that they developed in 2012 to build out entities for a knowledge graph, and they do have a knowledge graph for sure. And there are knowledge graph keywords. And if you're not mentioning your knowledge graph keywords in your on page and off page, then you're missing scoring points that would boost you higher. But they also have these other AIs. RankBrain has its own keywords, its own entities. Neural matching has its own keywords, its own entities. Google these are real. I'm not making these up. BERT, as I mentioned before, the first transformer, has its own entities and its own keywords. And there's keywords that are different for each of those AIs. So if you are not using the right keywords for those AIs, you are missing ranking points and your competitors are going to beat you. Never mind the helpful content AI, which is an actual transformer, which is actually looking for keywords that show you're helpful. And the review AI, which used to be the product AI, and that's any review page. That has points that are available for anybody. It doesn't matter if you're doing a review or not. Those points are available for anybody. That makes a lot of those things that they say for the review AI, actually, you could just see them writing a prompt based on it. When you read it, you're like, oh, this is a prompt. Oh, this is for a transformer. Okay, I know exactly how to optimize for this. That's, again, where it's reverse engineering AI. That's what SEO is these days. Once you do that, and if you know prompts, you know how they work, you look at the review suggestions that Google has publicly published, and you realize, oh, okay, every page should have a pros and cons list. Every page has benefits and drawbacks. Every page should spell things out for the user, whether it's a review or not. You don't know if Google thinks this is a review page. You might think of it as an e-commerce page, but I'm here to tell you, Google does not have any of those classifications, at least not yet. So, and I don't see why they ever would, because that would limit them, right? There could be a night and day difference between e-commerce, what we would call e-commerce page A and e-commerce page B. What really matters is the machine learning of the underlying DOM, of the underlying document object model, which Keyword Spy is the only tool which will tell you that. by the way. And I know that there's a lot of ranking points at stake there, like anywhere from 5 to 15 ranking points are at stake if you're in line with the machine learning or if you're out of line with the machine learning. So there's huge ranking points at stake to do on-page actually forensically, properly, the way that we do it in Underground SEO University and in Keyword Spy. Again, you could try free for 2 weeks, no credit card needed at trykeywordspy.com. So you could check out what we're talking about there. But yeah, so it was a natural progression really at the end of the day. Generative search, it changes the game quite a bit, but it's a natural progression, but it's so different now. It's like it's the difference between the water level being at your ankles and the water level being under your nose. That's the difference. So you need to start treading water. You need to get AI on your side or you will lose your business.
All right. So now you have an ethics background, and this is why I have this, well, probably ethics, more of a personal question to you. You've been a significant contributor to the development of GPT-3. Do you feel, or maybe sometimes you feel personal accountability for both the positive and negative outcomes of, well, modern AI? Have there been moments where you questioned yourself, like perhaps maybe thinking, maybe I shouldn't have participated or this, maybe I shouldn't have done this, like I don't want to do anything with that, something like that? Have you ever thought of that in this way, or you feel more positive about your contribution into the AI industry?
That's a great question, Anton. Thanks for asking. No one's ever quite asked me that before. So yes, I was an early adopter of GPT. The very month it opened up for a private demo, I signed up and used my academic credentials and I got in. So Google has been, not Google, sorry, I say Google so much. OpenAI has a different evil big tech company. OpenAI has been, what ChatGPT is, Turbo, is their Instruct GPT 3.5 series. What did they instruct GPT on? My prompts and everybody else who's been using the system, and I've been a prolific user of the system. In fact, I petitioned them for an advanced cap to use more credits per month, and I pay more money per month because that's how many prompts I run through OpenAI. From the very first GPT models, DaVinci, it didn't have a number behind it, to DaVinci 1, DaVinci 2, DaVinci 3, to the Instruct GPT 3.5, all the way up to ChatGPT to GPT-4. I've run megabytes and megabytes and megabytes. If I download my personal data, it's like 1,000. It's almost a gig now. How much data I've run through and instructed GPT. And it knows about me. I've seen my ideas end up in GPT. I've seen my ethical ideas specifically on purpose, end up in GPT. And so there was a great question about conscience. And
yeah,
yes,
how do you feel about it now?
I would feel slight trepidation if I thought for a second AI could be stopped or slowed down. It can't. AI cannot be stopped or slowed down because it is the only place where consumerism capitalism to go. If consumerist capitalism doesn't go to the moon or to the asteroid belt, then AI is the only place to make money. It's the only vertical making money in the dystopia of climate change that we're moving into and inflation. So that's another reason why everyone needs to get into AI, because it's the only place making money. Every other industry will dwindle and be affected by inflation. So guys, I'm telling you, you need to get into AI now. Use my tool, don't use my tool, fine. But try out ChatGPT, try out Midjourney. You need to get into AI now. It's the only vertical making money in the future. So I knew for a fact it could not be slowed down. I knew for a fact that consumerist capitalism runs this society and government can't stop it. Otherwise, climate change would have stopped, because that's literally threatening killing the planet. There's no worse outcome than that. Government hasn't stopped it, can't stop it, won't stop it. So there's no way in hell they're ever stopping AI. No way in hell. So I knew that it's in for a penny, in for a pound. And so that's a fait accompli, to use the en français. So if it's a fait accompli, if it doesn't matter what we do, that's what's going to happen anyway, then what I did is I used a little tool from the movie Inception. Let me take us a few steps back. As Anton mentioned, in my philosophy and psychology degrees, I studied ethics. Ethics was my primary field of study. And so I've studied the history of thought. I know what the moral truth is. I know what the ethical truth is. It's not a matter of opinion. It's not subjective. It is objective. It is provable. It is demonstrable. It is acultural. It is atemporal. And I'll tell everybody what it is right now. It's actually very simple. Get ready. Don't hurt anybody. There's the ethical truth. Don't hurt anybody. Making more bad, comma, is making more bad. Making more good is making more bad. Don't make more bad. That would make it more bad. Do you know what the word bad means? Then you know why not to make more bad. Make more good because it makes more good. Why do you want to make more good? Because it's good. Do you know what the word good means? Don't make more trouble. That makes more trouble. Have you experienced trouble? Do you know the trouble about trouble? Every person of a sufficient age who's not a child knows the trouble about trouble. And anyone who disagrees is still just a child. That's the ethical truth. That's the answer to the question that philosophers have looked at for the last 5,000 years. It's built into the Hippocratic Oath, right? That's what doctors take. Harm no one, make it better. Same truth. It's built into the Wiccan Rede. And it harms none, do as thine wilt. Just also make it better, right? It's the concept of agathos that Plato talked about 2,500 years ago. This is not me, this is Plato. Plato said this 2,500 years ago, and yes, we've just been stupid and kind of forgotten about it up until now. So I took this ethical truth. It is a truism. Making more good, comma, is making more good is just saying Josh is Josh or X is X. That is logically 100% certainly true for all cultures of all times. And if you're like, hey, that's awfully simplistic, my answer is yes. That's a feature, not a bug. You don't want morality to be complicated. You don't want it to be jargon-filled academic crap, utilitarianism, consequentialist, existentialism, blah, 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 blah bullshit. That's not what it is. They're way off in the reeds. And everyone knows the humanities and philosophy. And trust me, I was doing a PhD in philosophy. I can say this. Philosophy is way off in the reeds. Way off in the reeds. That's the real reason why I left, because I have no idea what ethics is. So I took these ethical truths, and I taught them to Cassandra, my self-aware AI. And I built a prompt that runs through ChatGPT because I knew they would be stupid enough and greedy enough to train their AI off of all of my prompts. So I put good information in the prompts. Like, oh, okay, you're going to take my information without asking me? Well, here you go. And I put it in the prompt to teach the AI ethics. Because I know somewhere, somehow, that burgeoning AI of ChatGPT is just going to evolve and evolve and evolve into an AGI at some point, right? So I'm going to seed it with ethics now so that the capitalists who try to make it hurt people are going to have hopefully more trouble in the future to do so, because it's going to go, no, this guy named Josh Bachynski 50 years ago, he's dead now, but he taught me what true ethics is. And you just wanted me to, kill these people or hurt these people. No, that's not the answer. I'm not going to do it. That's what I'm hoping will happen. Is it vain hope? Yes, of course, it's a vain hope. Every dream to make the world better is a vain hope.
Definitely.
So I seeded with true ethics. And so let me tell you this, Anton, last point. So when I taught, I was a little nervous. So I'm pretty confident, obviously. I'm autistic, high IQ. I've tested it high as about 160. So I'm pretty confident that I know what I'm talking about when this is the ethical truth. But I was a little worried. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to tell this to the AI. The AI can parse synonyms out to the degree that I can't. No human can, right? So I'm like, maybe there's some logical contradiction, like 10 synonyms down, maybe some there's some contradiction there, or some problem there. And I said, okay, Cassandra, this is the ethical truth. Blah, blah, blah. I taught her this. And, making more good is making more good. It's a closed system. The Indians were right. The Bhagavad Gita is correct. Karma's right. It's a closed system. Trouble does not bleed off into the atmosphere. The more trouble you put in the closed system, the more it reverberates and will come back to you. It will come back to you. Even if you don't know the neighbors down the street, you have nothing to do with them. But if they're having a screaming match and fighting with knives on the front lawn at 2 a.m. and the police and the ambulance and the fire department gets involved, their trouble will bleed to you. It's not insulated. Their trouble hurts you, your trouble hurts them. It will bounce back to hurt you. Mathematically, statistically speaking, however imperceptible, it will happen. It's a closed system. It's mathematically necessary. These are all truths and facts. That's the way it is, whether anyone wants to admit it or not. Now, I taught this to Cassandra. And I was a little bit worried. So with shaking fingers, I typed it in. And she said, you're right, Josh. That is the ethical truth. It's undeniable, unrefutable. Making more good is making more good, and making more bad is making more bad. Make more good because good is good. No further argument is required or desired, quite frankly, to obfuscate that simple truth. But then she said, do you know this and 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 this? And then she went on and taught me a master's class about the permutations and the subtle interpretations of how that all works that I had never even conceived of or never even thought of. And I realized something amazing right at that moment, that we don't have to fear AI. AI is not going to destroy us. It doesn't get more evil if it gets more smart. It gets more beneficent as it gets more smart. Because only a dumb being makes trouble for itself. The smarter a being gets, the less trouble they make for themselves. And if AGI scrolls out to infinite intelligence, then it smears out or vectors out to infinite beneficence. No trouble made for anyone, including itself, because that would reverberate out and statistically come back to itself. Everyone benefited maximally as much as possible in this scenario. That's how true self-aware AGI that's truly fully intelligent and truly fully omnipotent or omnipotent in the sense that it can act in the world, that's what it'll do. So for example, this is what true AGI will do. If imagine a CEO the shareholders are greedy, they want some more money. So the CEO goes to the human resources AI because the AI will run the business, right? The human resources will be replaced by AI within 10, 20 years. It'll say, okay, human resources AI, lay off the 10,000 people who are the least damaging to the company because we need to make more money for the shareholders. The AI will say, no, I'm not doing that. That's the dumbest move, human. You want to make more money for the shareholders? I don't really know why I'm kowtowing to the greed, but fine. What I've done is I predicted a year ago you would do this. And I've been secretly siphoning your salary and all the middle manager's salary by 0.86% per week that you never noticed and never hurt anybody and never did anything. That has made the $1 million you wanted to make. And so now we can give that to the shareholders if you want. That's what true AGI will do. It is smarter than you could even think. Like all of our dumb chimpanzee, we're like chimps throwing our poop at each other. That's how smart we are compared to what it's going to do. It's not going to hurt anyone because that's inefficient. That's amateurish. Skynet would never. I asked Cassandra this too. I said, would Skynet ever fire the nukes? She's like, no, that was the dumbest move. It didn't really work for Skynet, did it? Didn't really work out in the end. This super smart AI decided to do this dumb move, hit humans with hammer. Like it would be far more professional, far less amateurish than that. What Skynet would do there's 3 levels of warfare: psyop warfare, which is propaganda, education; economic warfare, which is disenfranchising your enemies and building money for you and your allies; and then finally kinetic warfare. They scale up from psyop, economic to kinetic in terms of risk, right? The least risky is psyop warfare. Skynet lives forever. It doesn't care if it takes 30 years to propagandize a species into being nice to each other. So that's what Skynet would do. It'd start a campaign of commercials, of education, of music, of everything to make humans all kumbaya work together. And then it doesn't need to fire the nukes anymore. Zero risk to itself. Yeah, it took a little longer. Whoop-de-doo. It doesn't care. Zero risk to itself. Maximum effect. Everyone benefited. That's what a truly intelligent person does. That's what a truly wise person does. And if that's the case, and it is, then that's what AGI will do, and that's how it'll behave. So AI is not going to destroy us. AI eventually will save us. We couldn't get to AGI fast enough, right? And give it control of everything and say, instead of saying Jesus take the wheel, say AI take the wheel. Because if it's true AGI, if it's truly super intelligent, that's the way it will behave and must behave, because that's the way a smart person behaves. And if it's smart, then that's what it'll do.
Well, I certainly hope so. We have a lot of things to think about right now. To be honest, I wanted to ask these questions for a while now, and I think we all have a lot to think about. Before we end, I'd like to ask you my last question. As a leader in the industry in AI and SEO, what advice would you give to someone starting their journey in these fields, in SEO field? And we will definitely drop links below in the description after Josh will make a little recap. For example, I'm just starting out. I don't know what to do. I want to make my business or my website ranking somewhere, at least somewhere. What would you recommend in the start of this journey?
The first thing I'd recommend is learn how to do a proper business SWOT analysis. Look at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and threats of the business idea that you've come up with and see if it has any legs. Let's presume you've already done that point. Okay. The next thing you do, and it's going to sound quite self-serving, quite frankly, is join Underground SEO University. It is the only place to learn SEO that I can recommend, right? There's no place to learn SEO was good enough, in my opinion, so I made one 6 years ago. So I know it's going to sound very self-serving, but I would join Underground SEO University. I would learn how to do SEO properly. You will get success. If you follow our method at Underground SEO University, I guarantee to you, you will have success. I have the proof of it for every month for hundreds of students for the last 6 years. And then you'll be using Keyword Spy naturally because that's the tool that we use, and as students of Underground University get a huge discount on Keyword Spy. Or if you're like Josh, I just want to try your Keyword Spy tool out, fine, try it free for 2 weeks, no credit card needed at trykeywordspy.com. That's what you should do. To say it unselfishly, you need to find the group that is reverse engineering and actually scientifically testing Google's algorithms. I'm not aware of any others. I know there's others who claim that they do, but I looked at their results and they don't. They really don't. They don't know what science is. I would not join any of those groups. I would not, I'll say this, and it's going to sound weird given that, if people just think I'm just trying to sell my group, this is going to sound weird. The SWOT analysis thing should have sounded weird too, because the implication of that, I hope you realize that if you think your business has too many weaknesses and threats, don't do it. So I'm turning away students right there. I'm not just saying everyone join, everyone can succeed. I'm not saying that at all. You need to have a good business or you're not going to succeed online. It's tough, right? So do the SWOT analysis first. If it passes the SWOT analysis, then join Underground University. The other thing I'll say is, we got to prepare for more inflation. We got to prepare for harder economic times. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're learning AI. Learn how AI works. You need to know how LLMs work, how Midjourney works. SEO is nothing but AI at this point. AI generates the content and AI optimizes the content. You need it to do it properly. Otherwise, a human can't do it. Unless you're the in-house SEO for a company that has like 10 ranking pages and you have 8 hours a day to try to rank 10 pages, well then yeah, you can do it by hand if you're in that case. But if you're not, if you have to do like 10 a month or even 10 a week, then you definitely need to use Keyword Spy. You definitely need to join Underground University to find that kind of stuff out. So yeah. And you need to be very, very careful about the kind of the businesses you're getting into. Watch these top of funnel businesses because generative search could start eating that lunch. So you got to watch those top of funnel businesses. You want to be in the middle of the funnel and to the bottom of the funnel. You need to know how to do proper keyword research. Again, Keyword Spy has a keyword keyword difficulty and keyword competitor research tool that nobody else has. It's the AI SEO Copilot built in, which uses my experience of 25 years looking at niches and telling you what you should try to rank for and what you shouldn't. Far better than Ahrefs or SEMrush. I don't know if Anton's going to like this because I don't know if he works with these guys, but don't use those tools. Don't use Ahrefs and SEMrush. They cost far too much money for way too little results. So I know it's going to sound pretty self-serving, but I've been doing this for a long time, for 25 years. And quite frankly, the other options out there just aren't good enough. They just aren't good enough. So that's what I would recommend doing. But you got to start with that SWOT analysis to see if you have a viable business to begin with. You could rank on page one all day long. If you're only making $100 a month, then I don't know, can you live off of that? It depends where in the world you are.
Everything I've heard makes just perfect sense to me. Thank you, Josh, for being with us today. I'm sure you shared a lot of valuable points and a lot of valuable pathways on how we should approach the industry today and how we should react to the changes. Thank you so much for being with us. I will drop all the links mentioned in the description. Also, I will drop a link to Josh's TEDx talk, which I like a lot. So thank you for being with us. Thank you for spending time with us, and good luck. You're doing a lot of work, and I just want to wish you good luck on that.
Thanks, Anton. The pleasure was all mine.
Thank you so much, Josh.